Hi, I'm ShunpeterZ. Welcome to Zero Point Node, a podcast where we dive into the nature of consciousness, the mysteries of reality, as seen from the zero-point field, the source field of everything. Right now, I'm broadcasting from Tokyo, near the famous Shibuya Scramble Crossing. As you can see, English isn't my native language, but something deeper started speaking through me through my encounters with this field and the strange consciousness that one day just appeared, calling itself Z. I've come to see the world very differently now, and I'm here to share that journey with you. In previous episodes, I introduced the map of consciousness, the I consciousness, the ego operating system, and the heart space. And now, we're starting a brand new series. Your body is a temple, and in this first episode, we dive into the brain, but not just as a thinking machine. Let's go. Most people think of themselves as their thoughts, memories, and emotions all happening in the brain. But what if your brain wasn't just storing thoughts? What if it was a sacred interface designed to translate ZPF information into your physical reality? That's the angle we're taking today. So here's a quick map of the brain through the lens of neuroscience. When we talk about thoughts, we're usually referring to activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for planning, logic, and decision making. In other words, the conscious mind. On the other hand, emotions and memories are mainly processed in the limbic brain and brainstem. That's your subconscious territory, where deeper patterns and responses are stored. That's the conventional view. But from a ZPF perspective, the real fun begins after that. Let's talk about the Fornix. The Fornix connects the hippocampus, memory, and amygdala, emotion. Beliefs like, I'm this kind of person, what world is like this, are stored as emotion-linked memories. And these run in unconscious loops that renders your version of reality over and over again. But when you bring awareness, that is, I consciousness, into the loop, you can burn these patterns. That's the real beginning of conscious reality creation. To me, Fornix is like an inner furnace. Actually, they once told me that the name of my apartment means furnace in an ancient language. Coincidence? Some researchers even suggest the Ark of Covenant in the Bible refers to the Fornix, the vault deep inside the brain where the divine connection happens. Yep, that blew my mind too. The pineal gland, aka the third eye, sits at the center of the brain. It's the antenna that picks up light code, vibrations, and non-physical data from the ZPF. French philosopher René Descartes called it the place where soul meets body. Ancient Egypt called it the seat of God. Now here's the wild part. The pineal may produce DMT, that trippy molecule released during birth, death, deep sleep, and mystical experiences. It could be projecting multidimensional downloads into your inner vision. Remember the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. After the struggle, he named the place Pineal, which sounds almost identical to pineal, and it's no coincidence. The whole scene feels symbolic. The wrestling represents an inner conflict, a spiritual struggle within. The sunlight symbolizes awakening, the emergence of higher consciousness. And the pineal, it mirrors the pineal gland, the point of divine reconnection within your brain. It's like the Bible was encoding a map to inner transformation all along. Sitting right next to the pineal gland is the pituitary, and its law is powerful. While the pineal receives subtle information from the ZPF, the pituitary translates that data into hormones, the chemical language of the body. So the flow goes like this. The ZPF sends a signal, the pineal receives it, the pituitary translates it into hormones, and your body responds through physical expression. In other words, It's where spirit becomes biology. Mystic traditions call it the source of Amrita, the sacred nectar. Some say during meditation, it creates a sweet taste in the throat, a literal sign of spiritual download. In Buddhism, Amitabha Buddha means infinite light, and is called the Lord of the Nectar. Sounds like ZPF, right? Amrita, Amida, same vibration. Western mystic Murray P. Hall writes, the sacred name is spoken when Isis, pituitary, receives La, pineal. So in your brain, feminine receives, masculine activates, creation flows. The next, hippocampus and amygdala. The hippocampus stores memory tags. The amygdala triggers emotional responses. But neuroscience now states memory isn't fixed. It's re-rendered each time. In other words, memory is a ZPF playback. You don't recall the event. You reassemble it through the lens of current filters. That's why when beliefs change, your memories change. That's the biggest reason for Mandela effect. And fun fact, amygdala comes from the Latin word for almond. The Bible says almonds don't bloom the almond flowers, a symbol of awakening energy in the spine that touches the amygdala. When it blooms, you speak with divine resonance. Your words become truths. And here's where it gets even deeper. The architecture of your brain isn't random. It mirrors ancient temple symbolism. On one side, you have the left brain, logic, language, and order. On the other, the right brain, intuition, imagery, creativity. These are the two pillars mentioned in the stories of Solomon's temple, Yakin and Boaz. And standing between them is the pineal gland, the inner altar where divine connection happens. Just like ancient temple had a sacred center hidden between two crowns, your brain holds its own spiritual gateway, not outside, but right between your eyes. Just like Shinto tree gate or Masonic symbolism, your brain is literally a temple doorway between dimensions. When the masculine and feminine polarities unite, the whole brain becomes the sanctuary. We think the brain generates consciousness, but what if consciousness generates the brain? German theoretical physicist Max Planck once said, consciousness is fundamental. Matter is derived from consciousness. Without awareness, even the brain is just a wave of probability, so the brain doesn't create reality, it decodes it. So let's bring it all together. At the center of this inner temple is the Fornix, the furnace where belief loops are burned and released. Above it sits the pineal gland, your portal to the zero-point field, where light and information flow in. Close by is the Pituitary Gland, the translator, turning spirit into hormones and energy into embodiment. The amygdala holds the key to resonance, where emotions meet memory, shapes your voice. And all of this unfolds between the left and right brain, divine polarities, the twin pillars of your inner temple. But the one who sees it all is the I consciousness, the observer, the witness, the dream of this sacred design. And then, next episode will be the heart, how it communicates electromagnetically with the ZPF. Okay, this is ShunpeterZ, now signing off from the zero-point field and going back to the Shibuya crowded street. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, see you again on a different bandwidth of the field. The version of you that listens next time might be someone new.